Workplace abuse affects the entire family. It became a catalyst for change for Tiana Bunnell Mumford after working in the healthcare industry for over 25 years. Great performance reviews didn't hold a candle to the company's narrative. That's when Tiana knew it was time to divorce her job.
You know, if you're in a situation, if you can try to get out, and some people like, oh, the pay, yes, because I did have a really good income, a really, really good income. But again, my health is more important than my
Yes.
income.
Amen. Amen. Talk about the EEOC.
Yeah.
Let's take a step back because, as you mentioned, we all go through that process where we're like, you're going to pay. And I don't mean pay financially, but you were going to be held accountable because you harmed me. And I don't want this to happen to anybody else. And so the American way is you file a lawsuit. But before you get the right to sue, you have to go to the EEOC. What was that process like for you?
So someone who was at the previous job basically was like, girl, you need to go to the EEOC. And I'm like, and then my aunt, she's like, oh, you need to go. So I did it. And it's a matter of going, of course, you go online, but it's a long process. Now, once I got my attorney, she ended up saying, okay, if you do it individually, we'll cancel that out and do it with attorney because you move fast. Went through all of that to say, oh, there's no evidence, but we give you the right to sue. So I was all confused. I'm like, what do you mean no evidence? We turned in all this stuff you know, and I'm like, oh, okay, so you give you the right to sue, but then that's more money. Mind you, you are already paying your attorney. I was paying the attorney monthly. That's quite expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So you're paying your attorney, then they turn around and say, oh, you got the right to sue, but then you have a certain amount of days. And mine was just up in February, by the way. And I looked at the date, I contemplate, ooh, should I not, should I? I'm like, I'm just gonna bury it. I'm gonna bury it. So that's more money because then you get the right to sue, then you got to take it to federal court. It's not free. They're not paying for it. You're gonna pay for it. Like the attorney told me, oh, it's just let's let them know that you're serious. So they'll know that you can call your bluff or whatever the case may be. Listen, I have time for that foolishness. I'm going to call my bluff and I'm going to pull the plug on all of this foolishness and I'm going to live my life.
Because you decided to pull the plug, there is no lawsuit. And you said that your mental freedom, your physical freedom, and peace and joy more important than necessarily suing someone. At
Yeah.
what point did you realize that the fix was in? Because technically, as you mentioned, you're spending so much money to the right to sue, through the EEOC, then you get the right to sue. Then you're suing in federal court. You're like, okay, we're going to move forward because you're looking for accountability vis-a-vis justice. You're looking for justice.
Yeah. Yeah.
At what point did you say, this isn't the justice that I thought I was going to get, or at least trying to get justice? It's going to be expensive and it's just not worth it to me. When did that revelation come to you, when you realized that maybe the fix is in, the system isn't set up for claimants to sue and to find justice?
When I found out, I'm gonna give you a little backstory. When my attorney left, let's just be clear, she left the firm, and I was given another attorney. And when I started interviewing him, and I didn't like what he was saying. First off, the first impression did not like.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, when I was interviewing and I was asking, can we prove an intent? And then he's going around the mulberry bush versus giving me a yes or no. Is this a yes or a no? Can we or can we not? You
Right.
know,
Are
now,
we going to win, or are we not going to win?
no, and you're maybe no, it's not going to be maybe because I'm not going to be fooling with you. So we're just going to go ahead. So that was my point where you know what? No, I don't have time. I don't have time for this because I don't even know if he's for me. Then I got to find a whole new attorney. That's more money. No, 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 no. And let's be clear, like I could have, because I have family members who was willingly, oh, you're not going to do that to my loved one, willingly to step in and pay that cost. But I'm like, you know what? I didn't spend all that money I spent. I could have put into my kids' education. My son's about to be going off to college. I could have done all of that. But here, I done wasted thousands of dollars. But if you got it, if you got it and that's what you want to do, but there's not a guarantee. That's the thing. It's not a guarantee that it may work out in your favor. No, no, it doesn't work like that for me.
Do you wish that the attorney had told you initially, this is what we need to prove? We need to prove intent. And to prove intent, X, Y, and Z needs to have happened within your work environment so that we can prove the racial discrimination. Had you known that ahead of time, you may not have pursued it, correct?
Yep. And it was so much happening in the beginning. And oh man, it was so much, it was like a whirlwind. Stuff was happening so fast.
Yeah.
When I interviewed, because I had to interview with the attorney, the one that I had who left. I had to interview with her. And if she told me that, I could have forgot, but then mind you, she left. So then I had to go with one of the partners. So to me, I had a little bit of comfort with her. I had more comfort than I had with that partner or whoever
Yeah.
it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, no, because at least the way she was talking, I had a little bit of assurance, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to strategically do it. I read her documents when she did the rebuttal with the EEOC. So I was like, oh, okay, then I have a little chance. But when I got on the phone with that fella, it was like, the baby. No,
No, sir, we're done.
we're done.
We're done. Happy that you made that decision. Looking back.
Yeah, because I'm just like, and even now I'm thinking, even I could have saved some money. I could have saved thousands, because even so, here's the thing. Even when that attorney was like, oh, well, this is the price, they might pay you. They might. That's what he was saying. They might pay you your salary, but then they'll look at this and they'll look at that, and there's no guarantee.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to know
Weigh
that.
the cost. Yeah, absolutely.
To weigh it. So you might, say for instance, I'm just gonna throw a ballpark. You used to making $50,000 and here you done paid out 20 something to attorneys and they sit up there and give you 10,000 and you still reliving this moment. Is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
For me, it wasn't because $10,000 go fast.
It's like $10 in this day and age.
Gone.
It's gone. The fact of the matter is, you're in a better place, which is great. And yet we do want to make sure that claimants moving forward, that they're in a better position, meaning they not only get the right to sue, but that there's an independent investigation, which didn't take place in your situation. Obviously didn't take place in mine. I've been talking about that until the cows come home, where they can lie and believe narratives from coworkers and other people who are complicit in the lies to try to mitigate their liability. And I don't even mean just financial liability. I mean emotional liability, their ethical liability, they're trying to mitigate that. So what do you believe we should do? Because as a member of End Workplace Abuse, which you are, the Indiana chapter, you have been very clear and vocal about the fact that, we need to have an independent investigation. They should not be able to investigate themselves because we already know how it's going to turn out.
And I still stand on it. I still stand on it because and I think within my case, a lot of them were friends. There's no way that you can even independently do something correctly without a conflict, because conflict of interest, and you have friends and you work with these people, and then you're like, oh, okay. No, I do think that all companies should have an independent. Learn HR is not your friend. Oh, employee relations. I didn't even know the company had an employee relations department because that's not the lane that I was in, 20 plus years being there. But all of them work together.
They're all in it together.
So having an independent company or agency or whomever come in and represent you, then you can they can take some of the cover off the wolves' eyes to see, oh, wait a minute. Or maybe, they didn't change the story up. So XYZ said this, and then, the other coworker said this.
Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. It doesn't. And at one point in the time, my attorney even was like, how can you say that she's one thing and then another? It, it
Yeah.
it just doesn't make sense. So I think by passing the act, and I pray that, Indiana definitely, and being at an at-will state, and it's kind of hard because people like, oh, I wasn't let go. I left. I left. But I still say I was kicked out. But at
Yeah.
the at will state, and that's what other attorneys were saying, like, you ain't have nothing to stand on. Like, who's standing with you? Because you can be here today and gone tomorrow. So to
You
me,
have no rights.
you have
Literally, their
no right.
workers' rights are non-existent in the state of Indiana, and a lot of other states that are also at will. They can come in and just say, you know what, we don't want you anymore, and you have no recourse whatsoever. Or if you go on FMLA, which a lot of people have gone on FMLA for mental anxiety, for the mental abuse that they've experienced, and they're like, I need to take a little time away. And during that time, you come back. They haven't made any changes, but they're requiring you to say, okay, when are you going to come back? And you're like, well, are you going to change the environment? And they're like, no. So then you're like, well, then why would I come back to the same environment that I just left to get help for? And it's this game that companies know that they're going to win, that they're playing. Girl, they're playing in your face. They're playing in our faces. And I think that's the part that's so aggravating and continues, I believe, to propel you and me and other people within the Indiana chapter, as well as other chapters of EWA around the nation, to say this is not right. We can do better. We do have a solution that's fair for claimant and for the company.
Yeah, yeah. But they don't. But here's the thing, and a lot of the companies too, it's almost like they don't want to uncover. Like, yeah, you do. Some of these people, like I told my attorney, I'm not into the like, oh, I want this person, I want my supervisor gone. No, I
Right.
never said that because that maliciousness is not in my heart. But I do think that she needs some coaching. I said that from day one, because just because you're a supervisor, everybody is not meant to be a manager or a
Right.
supervisor.
Hmm.
So, and you can't be playing the fields and XYZ, and then you're being two-sided. It doesn't work.
For the work.
What
Yeah.
happens is you end up losing good employees, and that's the thing. I've even had providers tell me that. It's a shame, because then you lose all the good ones, and then here come people afterwards, and they never live up to even the work that you were doing.
Hmm. Absolutely.
So it is very unfortunate. It really is. And until we have a change, like I said, from a federal level, it's just going to keep on happening. And that's another reason I'm like, you know what, really change anything? Because these people still going to be doing what they're doing. She's probably still sitting in her seat, Still, she may not, maybe she did it to someone else, maybe not. I don't know. But I did not want it to happen to anyone. And that was what I was clear with my attorney. I don't want her to get fired, but I do want it to change.
And stay tuned for part 3 as Tiana wraps up how she's gone from survivor to thriver.